This innocuous looking sand pile houses a demon which looks like this. No, I'm not kidding. Antlion larva is the lion for ants. It is an optimization expert, a physicist, a strategist, an unforgiving predator, an expert civil engineer. Also, you're not watching Nat Geo. So what is the physics, you ask? If you understand a very basic concept of friction known as the coefficient of friction, friction and its coefficient gives you an idea that what could be the level of the inclined plane so that a block can be put on that inclined plane, and that is loosely known as angle of repose. Now you can observe the same concept when you look at a mound or a pile of sand. It has some kind of a small hill kind of a structure, and the angle of that mound is dependent on the angle of repose, because if you make it more steep, the friction won't be able to hold the particles of that mound and it will fall down. So it has to have an optimal angle dependent upon the angle of repose, which is dependent upon the coefficient of friction or friction. So this is the idea of pile of sand or a mound of sand. Now the same thing can be thought upside down. What about if you have a pit of sand? Now that pit of sand, if it's a conical shape, the angle of that cone is again going to be dependent on the angle of repose of that sand material. Now our demon, the antlion larva, hides at the base of that pit. It doesn't merely hide at the base of the pit, but it also creates it. And it uses an optimization based on the principles of physics, or in other words, the angle of repose, and it moves in a spiral kind of a motion so that the pit becomes conical in shape. When the ant mistakenly steps onto the edge of the pit, it slips down because it's unable to move up, as the angle of repose of that structure is not giving the ant sufficient friction to climb up once it slips down. And the moment it slips down, the antlion, which is sitting at the bottom, disturbs the structure more, so that ant slips down. And once the ant slips down, antlion, or the lion for ants, attacks the ant. And even if the ant tries to escape him, he still uses more physics. He disturbs the structure more so that the ant is not able to escape. All is done by this tiny being. And come to think of it, this is just the larva of antlion. This is not a fully grown organism. Such is the nature of nature.